So we reset everyone, Peter King, to 0-0, and you have your playoff picks. We've gleaned some of your thoughts so far this show. I could probably guess a few of them, although all I have to do is look down and see all of them. Tell us who you have. Let's go one division at a time. Who are your 4 division champions, and then we'll get to the wild card picks.
Okay, NFC, I've got Philadelphia winning the East, Green Bay winning the North, edging the Bears. I've got the Saints winning the South and the Rams winning the West. Wild card teams, I've got, who do I have?
The Bears.
Why am I drawing
and the 49ers.
I got the Bears number 5, and I've got San Francisco number 6. Now, here's the one thing about picking every year and why I every year when I pick, the playoff order and everything, everybody always says, oh, my God, this guy's insane, blah, blah, blah. That's because you don't pick up in 2019 where you left off in 2018.
Right.
In the last 3 years, there have been 7, 7, and 6 different playoff teams from one year to the next. So you've got to pick some picks that basically make you say, are you kidding me?
That's right.
And that's one of the reasons why I always look for teams. I go on the training camp tour and I say, my God, San Francisco, if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't slip on a banana peel in September, if he plays 15 or 16 games, I really like the 49ers. So we'll see. I don't know. They don't sell insurance for this stuff, as Chris's buddy Bill Parcells used to say. But I will just say this about the NFC.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely wide open. I think Philadelphia could win it. I think a team could get hot and on a roll like San Francisco and win it. But I'm picking New Orleans because I think entering the year, they have the fewest holes of any team in the NFC.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Peter, I agree completely. You have to have that willingness to forget about last year and understand that there will be turnover. The problem is spotting the teams from last year that aren't going to get back and the ones that will, and also which of the non-playoff teams can rise up. And Saints and Rams are the two that I know Chris and I are the most nervous about not being able to get back. That's what stood out to me, that you have so much faith in both the Saints and the Rams. What do you think about the Rams? What carries over that allows them to fend off the Seahawks at the top of the NFC West? Because I think the Seahawks are going to be a serious contender. You don't have them in the playoffs at all.
I don't have the Seahawks or Cowboys in the playoffs, and I think both of them could make the playoffs. The thing I like about the Rams, and I wrote about this a couple of weeks ago, is that Sean McVay realizes now, and I use the 6th play of the Super Bowl as a metaphor, where Jared Goff did not choose to take the deep shot downfield to Brandon Cooks, and he would have had him open, and he should have made that throw. But basically, McVay blames himself for being too conservative. Don't make that big mistake against the Patriots. And I think right now, when you look at the Rams, you are going to see them as a more attacking offensive team from play 1 to the end of the year. And I like that.
Chris, what stands out for you the most from Peter's picks?
Well, the Rams is a big one for me, too, because I do look at it, and I know what Peter's saying. I mean, I got to see McVay reinvent himself to a degree. He's going to have to bring another element to that offense because I do think the NFL caught on to that formula a little bit. Also, I look at the Rams and go, you know, what did they really do this offseason to get better? You know the old saying, like, if you stay the same, you're getting worse in the NFL? That's where I worry about. Whitworth is a year older. They lost one of their best O-linemen in Saffold. He's gone. You know, I do. LaMarcus Joyner was good, and Ndamukong Suh was good. So I worry about the Rams. I'm there with you. I'm interested also in the fact Peter's got Green Bay and the 49ers. That's their gutsy moves because I like the teams, but I didn't have the guts to pick them to go to the playoffs because of just uncertainty at the quarterback and the OC situations.
All right, well, Peter has buttoned up his picks. That's the best I can do in the AFC. Peter, let's go through it like we did last time. Give us your division champions for the AFC for the 2019 season and your 2 wild card picks, and then we'll either agree or hopefully disagree.
Well, thank you, Mr. Segway. We will go with in order of seed. Number 1, Kansas City winning the West. Number 2, Pittsburgh winning the North. Number 3, New England winning the East. Just because I'm so bored of the Patriots always being one of the top 2 seeds. I have no good reason for that whatsoever. And the 4th seed, the Indianapolis Colts winning the South. My 2 wild card teams in the AFC, 5 Chargers, 6 Texans. And I really, really wanted to pick a crazy team, either somebody from the East, let's say. I just didn't love anybody in the East. I think that Le'Veon Bell is going to get beat up behind that offensive line. I didn't love Baltimore enough to pick them, even though that wouldn't have been a shock. And I toyed with Cleveland, and I would not be surprised if Cleveland wins 10 games. But I don't know. There's so much on Cleveland's plate that I wonder how they'll handle. How will they handle 3 primetime games in the first 5 weeks of the season? And everybody said, oh, that's a ridiculous thing. It might be ridiculous. All I know is you've got a coach and a quarterback and every star on the team, with the exception of Odell Beckham, they haven't played in prime time virtually at all. And now they're going to be America's darlings. How do you cope with that? So Cleveland probably came the closest at the end, but I ended up giving Houston my 6th seed.
I agree with you on the Browns. How are they going to deal with adversity? I mean, I don't know whether or not I'm putting them in or out of the playoffs yet. I got to finalize my picks this morning. But when they have an unexpected loss, if they lose to the Titans on Sunday, which would not shock me if that occurs, Peter, because the Titans are a team that can play up and down to the level of whatever competition you put on the field with them. How will they respond? Chris, how concerned are you about that? Adversity is going to happen. How will the Browns deal with it with a head coach who a year ago we would not have said, hey, that Freddie Kitchens is destined to be an NFL head coach?
No, definitely not. But he's certainly proven that he's worthy of it to this point. I mean, we haven't seen too many cracks in the armor. I mean, I like the way he controls his football team, the things he says to the media. They got a quarterback, more importantly, that is very good at handling personalities. He's old school Baker Mayfield. He really is. He's like a quarterback from the 70s or 80s. I don't think he's scared to MF players or yell at the offense or yell at the coaches, anything like that. You got a guy like Steve Wilks as a defensive coordinator who's been around the block for a while and just was a head coach. So I think the right leadership's there. I was on the fence with the Browns too, but when I got into the nitty-gritty, I put them in. I had them squeaking in just barely the last week of the season. But the big question is certainly all of that. Can they deliver, with the bullseye on their back and it being a young team, and then they're unproven commodity as far as that conversation goes to this point.
Peter, what causes you to have more faith in the Steelers than the Ravens in the AFC North? Because I tell you, the Ravens defense, I think, is still going to be potent. The offense, we don't know what it's going to be because they've kept it so under wraps. But why the Steelers over the Ravens?
If you told me right now that Earl Thomas played 16 games, he is the vital Ed Reed type piece to the Baltimore puzzle. And if he plays 16 games, and I think it's more likely than not he won't, but if he plays 16 games, I think Baltimore absolutely could win 11, win that division. I just think Pittsburgh has fewer questions than either of the other 2 teams. I think Devin Bush in the middle of their defense is really going to add a lot. And I also think that they're not going to have the constant tornadoes around their head of Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell. I think that bodes well for Pittsburgh.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.